I know we have a big military family community within our district. And one of the things is my brothers and I would all be deployed at the same time and my parents are home alone. So now that we're all back in the States, I'm retired. I have a brother that's retired and another brother that is still finishing out his active duty tour. What became important as we got older was being together. Nobody cared about the presents. It was just, this was a time we knew we got some additional time off of our day jobs that we could all try to get together.
Hello and welcome to Mindshift, a PLCS Empowerment Collective podcast. My name is Christopher and I'll be one of your hosts today.
And I'm Deb. I'm your other co-host. Welcome, everyone.
And Deb, we are just on the cusp of the wild holiday season. What does holiday season look like for you?
Okay, so I've been thinking about this because I know our topic today is self-care in the holiday season. And I don't know that it looks that much different for me in the holiday season than it does the rest of the year. But a long time ago, I did stop doing some things. Like I don't do Christmas cards. Now that my kids are grown, I don't do the baking that I did, like rolling out cookies and the cookie cutters. I just don't do some things anymore. So it doesn't really look that much difference, Christopher. And I love this time of year. I start playing Christmas music in August. So there you go.
I also love this time of year, but I will say that I'm definitely bogged down a little bit with some of the stressors of the holiday season.
Yep, I understand that. I think we have the perfect guest to talk about those stressors. So should we have her introduce herself?
Yes. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Christopher. I really appreciate you reaching out and having me on. This is such an important topic and it just fills my cup to talk about it and help people. So I'm Heather Kearney. And I have been helping people kind of manage their health, their overall wellness, their stress for around 15 years now, believe it or not. And it was something that I just did on the side. I was active duty military and I was Guard and Reserve. And so I actually served in both the Air Force and the Navy. So I totally understand what the military stressor family is like.
A lot of really cool stuff that you have experienced in your time working and helping people to manage their stressors and to take care of themselves. So thinking about this busy holiday season, how do you define self-care, especially through the lens of the holidays?
Yeah, no. So like in my coaching work, self-care during the holidays is really about prioritizing activities and nourishing that mind, that body, and that spirit the same time you're trying to find balance. So creating a space for relaxation, creating a space amidst the joy and the hustle and bustle, even if it's 5 minutes. Giving yourself 5 minutes can just be the world. Deb did the perfect example, rolling out the cookies. You talked about travel, Christopher, the pressure of getting the perfect Christmas card out to everybody. You know, we put a lot of these pressures on ourselves. And so prioritizing you is not something that you should feel guilty about. In fact, it makes you show up better for your family, the family in your home, or the family maybe that's coming in to visit.
I'm wondering, Heather, when you talk about that, whether the things that you suggest that parents do, if it actually helps them to remove some of the stressors, or does it feel like one more thing? Like now I have to figure out these different ways to take care of myself and still do all these other things.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be that, right? So if you're feeling that way, then you're definitely putting too much pressure on yourself to put yourself first, right? And we need to, because we can't show up as our true authentic selves. We can't give 100% to our families, to our friends, to whatever it is we're doing in life if we don't stop for a minute and breathe. So if you're feeling the pressure, then take a step back and give yourself 5 minutes. And when I say 5 minutes, I truly mean it. Whether it's, I'm going to go into the bathroom for a second, just shut the door. I'm going to walk into my bedroom for a second and just shut the door. Wherever you can go and shut the door at your car, I let the paraprofessionals in on a little secret. I'm like, the car is the perfect place before you turn the key or push the button to start that you take a breath, right? And I have to tell myself that too. Trust me, don't have it all figured out, and I am not perfect by any means. But we need to be intentional about taking that pressure off ourselves and just giving us the 5 minutes to breathe. Does that make sense?
I love that. And I'm trying to think about ways that I can allow myself some time to not stress about the holidays. And I'm thinking about a specific example. So I just want to talk about it. This is where the crazy comes out. I plan 3 different photo sessions in preparations for the holiday. One photo session is my immediate family to get the perfect holiday card photos. One session is for photos of my son looking holiday-y. So decorating the perfectly decorated already Christmas tree, because those are the photos that I use for the grandparent presents. And then this was an accidental one, but I started taking photos of my son in a different buffalo check plaid outfit every year. And so now I also have to find a different take on buffalo check plaid and then take those photos as well. And here's the deal. I know that I'm not going to stop doing those things. They bring me joy. They make me happy. I like doing them, but they also stress me out. Where's my opportunity then to say, okay, I'm going to reduce some of the stress in my life by looking at it this way? What should I be doing or could I be doing differently?
No, that's a great question, and holy cow, that's a lot, right? I think, like,
That's just part of it.
I was feeling a little stressed out just hearing the story. I'm sure some listeners were too. But I also know that there's listeners that do exactly what you do, right? Because we all get the Christmas cards in the mail, and you're like, holy cow, like that is perfectly posed.
As I was listening to Christopher talk about I felt the same way as you, Heather. That's a lot. And I get that you love doing it, Christopher, because I can hear it in your voice.
Absolutely.
But what happens when the things that you love to do stress out your partner?
For me, this is where communication comes into play, right? We can all get better at communication. Even myself, not perfect at it. My husband, he has like this list running in his head. I have a list running in my head. You find yourself both running in opposite directions. And then it's like, holy cow, when was the last time we talked? So for the holidays, you could take that and it's just like, okay, well, let's just sit down at the table. Let's give ourselves 5 minutes, right? Tell the kids to give mom and dad a minute, or whatever your family dynamics are. It doesn't matter. Sit down with your partner, have a minute, and discuss. So what are the holidays going to look like? What do we want to do? And really just have that communication. So it's like, I like doing these things and I don't want to not do them. Okay, great. And then your partner communicates that they like to do X, Y, Z. And then maybe you have to find balance, because as you're starting to talk about your list, you're like, that's a lot. And the holidays are short. And before you know it, you're doing the lists. And then you're like, Christmas is here. And then it's over. And you're like, what just happened? One thing that I think we all have in common, and that's human connection and each other. And that in and of itself, and just being transparent, like if the family's coming town, everybody's like, oh, the stereotypical, my in-laws are coming in, or I got every cousin I haven't seen in 20 years that's, invading my house or whatever. And it's just about setting those expectations. And I've learned that from being from a military family perspective. And I know we have a big military family community within our district. And one of the things is my brothers and I would all be deployed at the same time, and my parents are home alone. So now that we're all back in the States, I'm retired. I have a brother that's retired and another brother that is still finishing out his active duty tour. What became important as we got older was being together. Nobody cared about the presents. It was just, this was a time we knew we got some additional time off of our day jobs that we could all try to get together. And so I hope for people in the holiday season that maybe as you're looking at some of those stressors and those different activities, you take joy in doing those traditional things that you've always loved.
Yeah, I love that. The story about your family and being deployed at the same time and your parents being alone. And you're right, we have so many military families in our district, and what a poignant story for them to hear, because I'm sure that a lot of them are going through the same thing, where the most important thing for them would be to be together. Also, Heather, you mentioned 5 minutes. You've mentioned 5 minutes a couple times now. So are there other practical strategies that you would recommend? I know our paras left that conference with you having a million ideas of things to do.
Aw,
Can
that's great.
you give our listeners some
Yes.
practical strategies about how to manage their own self-care?
Yeah, yeah. So something really practical, and I left this with the parents too. So walking away from a tense situation, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's your job, maybe you're not in the classroom and you're listening to this, right? Whatever the case may be. And when I talk about trying to find that quiet corner, I really do mean it. Like if it's a closet, if it's a bathroom, it's a bedroom, your car. And I'm going to use the car as an example here. So you're leaving work and now you have to go and you have to put on the mom hat, the wife hat, the husband hat, whatever hat it is. When you leave the four walls of the workday and you get into the car, before you start the car, you need to breathe. And one of my favorite breathing exercises that I love to share with people, and there's science and research and everything that backs this, but it's 3 deep breaths. But the 3 deep breaths are breathing in for a slow count of 5, holding it at the top for 2, and then exhaling it for 8 in, really strong counts. Be the mom or dad you want to be the husband or wife you want to be the spouse that you want to be. And I have to do this for myself too, right? Again, not perfect.
I'm wondering if you have any suggestions or advice for parents specifically when you are feeling stressed to things that you could do to stay connected with your kids or to feel like you're still doing a good job as a
Yeah.
parent.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a tough question because I have to work on that too. I'm a boy mom. And I'm a senior mom this year. So talk about the roller coaster of emotions. And then I have an 8th grader as well, right? So, and then you throw in all the holiday concerts and activities, and you got to show up for those. So, just one of the things that I do my best at. And I am being very intentional here, making sure that I don't want anybody to think that I have this all figured out and I'm perfect, because we just aren't, right? Nobody is. But when you have all those things, part of it is communicating with your kids. Even if they're little guys, get them the little kid shovel, right? And they're out there helping you, get them a little broom, something, anything, because then you're doing an activity together, you're getting a chore done, and you can make it fun. That's just a good winner example, right? But again, communication is really key. And there are times where I'll sit my kids down and I'll just say, like, you know what? I had a really hard day in the office today. And I just have a lot on my mind. And so I'm just really sorry if I snapped at you. Because most of the time that conversation comes after a snap, doesn't it? Because we just don't have
Mhm.
the forethought to like have the conversation before the snap. But if we do, great. But sometimes it's just like, I didn't mean to take that out on you. And it's okay to apologize to our kids, right? There's a difference between that and discipline. Is that
Yeah,
helpful? Did that make sense?
that I think that's really helpful. I wanted to share an example of something that I read that someone else does, and I can't remember the name of it. It has a name. I think it's Swedish. But on Christmas Eve, everybody in the family gets a book. And then they do book reading. I mean, that's the activity. So they set a timer for 20 minutes. They have the fire on and everybody finds a corner in the same room. So they're all together, but they're
Okay.
all reading their own favorite book.
Love it.
And I just thought that sounds like the most relaxing, fun, restful way for a Christmas Eve that I would love to start doing that. So just another idea for how we
Yeah.
can do this as a family.
We're a family of readers and we have hard copy books. I don't like reading on the Nook. I don't have an electronic device. I know for some it's their thing and they love it and that's great. More power to you. I'm an old-fashioned kind of gal and I like to get my hand in the pages. So that is a brilliant idea.
I have two key takeaways. One is prioritize. So think about all of the things that you have going on with you and your family and prioritize those things, which ones matter the most. And then the second one is to connect. Make sure that you're being intentional about connecting with the people that you want to connect with. So, as we come to the end of our episode here, we have one last question for you. What gives you hope about families finding some sense of balance during the holiday season?
Seeing families balance the self-care with the holidays, it just gives me hope that more people will find joy and fulfillment in being together without sacrificing their well-being. We take responsibility for our choices, right? Because this is an opportunity for inner growth for all of us. And if our kids are seeing us do it and our kids know that we're setting those priorities for ourselves, then we're setting them up in the future to do the same thing. So they grow up to be, it's not about raising good kids. I love the saying from Andy Andrews. It's about raising good adults.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Heather, for joining us today and for sharing your insights on managing those holiday stressors. And thank you, listener, for listening to Mindshift. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And you can visit us online at plcschools.org/Mindshift for additional content. And be sure to join us next week when we'll be discussing another exciting topic.